cord.
I keep the hat on.
Mark Friedman, you kind of look the same. I would recognize you. I would recognize you.
I'll take that as a compliment.
It is a
Hi,
compliment.
Jackie.
I would not, yeah, wow.
Do we have anybody other than Israel and United States? Anybody else living out of the country?
I'm living
I live in Canada,
Where?
Toronto now. I used to live in Ottawa.
Okay.
We're actually going to be getting to all that about what everybody's doing. So this free talking is fabulous. But if we miss anything, we're going to get to that in a little while. We'll start in about 4 minutes.
You have an
And
agenda.
in the meantime, Howie's joined us and Jeff just popped on and Lee is here, but we cannot see you. and so is Paul and who else is here? Jan. Hey, Jan.
There's
Is
Elliot.
that Michelle Marum?
Elliot.
Could you just all check your sound to see that your mics are working?
Yeah, Howard Richmond, you don't have a
And
mic.
Tesh is
Hello.
That's weird.
Yes, you're on mute.
There you go.
Okay.
I have unmuted.
Judy, your sound is very good, Judy.
I'm waving to Michelle Marum. I would recognize you too. You look the same.
Oh my God. No way.
You look the same.
Hey,
Wow,
by the way,
look at you.
Hello. You can
Wow.
all fix your names. So who do we have here? MS Maram. I'm not quite
Marum. Michelle.
Michelle, why don't you change your name so everybody knows who you are?
I didn't.
No,
I didn't change my name.
Would you like me?
No, could you change it on the Zoom?
On the screen.
Just rename yourself.
Okay, got it.
You can rename yourself.
That works. Okay,
Let's see.
You click on the bottom left and you'll get a pop-up window that says rename.
Or the top right, depending on what device you're on.
Correct.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, Suzanne. Wow. Hey, Adele. Would this have happened if we did not have a pandemic? Because everybody's doing these Zoom reunions, and I don't know if this would have happened without a pandemic.
Hey, Gary.
Hi.
I think Zoom wasn't quite as popular. Lisa.
So, if you remember, Marty Davis, Zichrono Livracha, and I tried to get a reunion in 2012 in Israel, and we started organizing it, and Marty was super he'd already gotten in touch with the hotels and the buses and the this and the that. And he had it all set up, and then we had a war.
Yeah.
So I figured we do it on Zoom. We can do it with pandemic. We can do it with war. Nothing can stop us if we want to do this. So here we are.
I can't even fit everyone on one screen now. We got 30.
No, neither can I. Yep, we have to switch. Hi, Debbie. How are you?
Gary, you have to move.
Fine. Hello, Rena and Debbie.
Hi.
Hi, Francine.
Hi, everybody.
Joe.
Hey, Joe.
And I see
Hi.
Tom and Sue.
Hey, Tom.
Boy, nobody has
Girl.
changed.
Oh,
right.
It's absolute nonsense.
Ron.
Well, I recognize one of you.
Oh my God.
Myra.
Wow.
It's Nina.
Nina's there.
Oh
So,
my God.
Nina, you're in the car? Hi, Cindy.
Amy, we've got 40.
Brown, I love your haircut.
You like it? I was just thinking about you. Weren't you?
Hey, Karen. Hi. Sandy, unmute yourself. Sandy Samuel,
when Howard
unmute yourself.
Aronoff come to visit me in Manhattan when it was freezing one day? Years ago.
Michelle and Jeffrey are on here. I mean, Michelle and Earl are on here.
Hey, Mr.
Hi,
Oh, nice.
Wait, can everybody see?
Okay, you ready? 9, 7, 8.
No. Oh, maybe
No,
if I do
because there are
that.
more than one.
There we go.
0.
Now I'm on 2 screens for now, and not everybody's here
Oh,
yet.
I have.
Ron Ashkenaz is on. Hi, Ron.
Lisa, you're on 2 screens, Lisa.
Tell you want to look at these clowns?
Oh, fun. Lisa. Gary. Hi, Gary.
I see you in
Hello.
You know
Don,
Deborah
hi,
and Rena
Robin.
Brownstone over
Gary,
there. My wife.
Mazel tov.
Gary.
Isaac
No,
Shapiro,
Deborah and Rena.
how are you?
Hi, Rosie.
Brown.
Speaker view.
I don't think Ellen Kachalski's here yet.
If you click on speaker view up in the right corner, you get
You get more pictures.
You get more pictures.
No, gallery view gives you more pictures.
Gallery view.
Gallery view.
Greg Berkowitz. Oh my
Mine
God.
said speaker view, so.
Hello, Craig.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hi, Craig.
48 years ago, you and I got the bright idea to hitch
Nicholson's.
to a lot.
Aren't there go with us? Somebody else went with it, didn't they?
Hi, Nina.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Tom.
Hi.
Regarding who lives in a foreign country, I live in Michigan, which is a foreign country.
Hey. Hey, Brown. Hi, Jay.
Suzanne.
Hi.
Hi, Nina.
And Tom's here
Hi.
too.
Hi, Amy.
Deborah and Rita, where are you physically?
We're in Utah in Deborah's house.
Very nice.
Oh, hi, girls. Hi, ladies.
Nice new house.
Okay, so you'll excuse me. I have just muted everybody because we're going to start. Okay, so before we start, I want to take an USSI, a group photo. So if everybody could just look at the camera, look at your camera, and I will take a picture of a few screens. Keep smiling, because we've got 3 screens on here. Keep smiling. And one more, keep smiling. And 1 second. And okay, I've got all 3 screens here, and I've taken our USSI, and I am just so excited to see that this has actually happened. There are 51 people on this Zoom. Some of you are multiples, but still, let's say 48, not bad. So the plan is this. We're gonna start with a game, and the game is a Mentimeter. And I don't know if any of you have ever done Mentimeter, but what you do in order to do Mentimeter, I'm gonna write in the chat, you type into your device menti.com, and I'm going to share my screen, and you will see it there. You could go into your phone if you're on your computer or on your other device, and I'm going to share screen now. And I would like everybody to go into their device and answer this question. You go into menti.com, you use the code 9951911 when it asks you for the code, and write the answer to this question. What are you feeling about this ZOOMUnion? So everybody go into you could do it on your computer as well. What are you feeling about this ZOOMUnion? And what we're going to get here will be a word cloud. You're gonna type in your emotions, excited, happy, whatever, nostalgic, excited, here they come. And a word cloud, for those of you who do not know what a word cloud is, it's a graphic representation of the words that are put in, and the words that are repeated the most show up the biggest. So we've got the most people that are excited. There's bliss, interested, nostalgia, happy, humbled. Oh my goodness, humbled. Yes, wish we were in person. So I've got 15 people who've answered so far. Gonna give you another few seconds. Maybe put on some music while we are doing that.
Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. Walked out
Verklempt, oh my goodness. Overwhelmed.
Just can't remember who to send it to.
Can you repeat the code, please?
The code is on top, 9951911, sorry, 9951911. It's on top. Can you see that?
seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I thought that I'd see you down upon me, Jesus. You gotta help me make a stand. Just got to see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand.
If any of you joined us late, we're going into our devices, typing in menti.com and using the code that's at the top of your screen and writing in your description of how you're feeling about the ZOOMUnion.
Seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could
Okay.
not find a friend.
We've got another one now. I'm changing screens. Which part of your year course or Machon experience left the most lasting impression or influenced you the most? Same code. You should have a different screen and you can write those answers in now.
About things to come.
The people.
Sweet dreams and fine machines in pieces on the ground. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. Seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you maybe one more time again. Thought I'd see you one more time.
Wow. What amazing things you guys are writing here. Okay, one more for now, and then we're going to start talking. What is your favorite Hebrew term from your course or Machon? Adam, please go into the other room or talk not on speaker. Balagan.
And snow on everyone, so many things I would have done.
Habibi, Hebre. Dafka, isn't that great? That Dafka, that has got to be the best. Okay, so I see that people have more or less finished adding things. So we're going to go over to starting. There's so many people here. I'm going to stop share for now. And we are now 60 people on these screens. And I'm just going to go one by one and ask you the following questions. 1 second. Okay, so because we are so many people here, we don't really have a lot of time. We're going to be about 30, 40 minutes in this constellation altogether. and then we're going to go into breakout rooms. So what I'd like you to do for now, I'm going to go one by one and ask you to answer these questions. Give us your name, where are you living in the world now, and name one interesting thing you are doing these days. Okay, so I'm going to start with whoever's on the top of my screen. And that happens to be Marisha. So I'm gonna ask you to unmute, and I'm going to spotlight your video. And I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And Marisha?
Ready? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I am living on Cape Cod for the past 2.5 years. And I guess many interesting things, but I started a new private practice in psychotherapy when we moved here. And I find it very rewarding. And was there another question?
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much.
That's
And
it.
thank you so much for
Great
this.
to see everybody.
For this Zoom room. And I'm gonna spotlight somebody else's video. And if you find yourself in the middle, it is your time to talk. Open your mic, Sarah, and go for it.
Hi, everybody. Sarah Leuchter Wilkins. Even though I divorced my husband many years ago, I keep his name for professional reasons. So my partner, Leo, Lionel Sigurato, and I live in Machon, Wisconsin. We've been here for almost 16 years, having moved here from Miami. I miss my sister, Lisa. Sorry that I don't see her very often. And what am I doing? I'm still working. I see most of you, or many of you, have retired, and I'm very jealous.
Something interesting or fun that you're doing these days.
Working from home, playing with my dog, and trying to stay safe in this environment. I work at a medical university and a healthcare system, and it's really scary. So I hope all of you are staying safe and healthy, and it's really great to see you all.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. The next person to be spotlighted. Cindy, go for it.
Okay. So I'm living in Tel Aviv, and for the last 23 years, I've been working as the coordinator for the International MBA program at Bar-Ilan University, and I'm having a great time, except I'm really tired of the pandemic.
Okay, thank you so much. Next person to be spotlit. You're muted, Lori. Please unmute yourself.
And then,
Okay, we can hear you now.
Okay, I live in Brookline, Mass. And I went back to Israel last summer to visit some friends that I've known my whole life. And I just finished my book. That's what I've been working on.
You wrote a book?
No, I made a book of my pictures.
Okay, thank you so much. And next spotlight is Double Trouble. You have to unmute yourselves.
I'm Deborah. I've recently moved to Utah, and I've been here for 3.5 months. I have had a career in internal medicine and am now making a community for myself in my new home.
Thank you. And the lady next to you? Oh, you're a bit frozen.
I go to the schools and talk about I'm a second-generation survivor, and so I teach at the schools during non-pandemic times, telling them the story of my father's escape.
Amazing, thank you. And the lady next to you, who's that lady?
I'm Rena Rothenberg Brownstone. Let's see, I've had a house in Utah for 9 years. I also have a place in California. I'm now in Utah because I couldn't stand staying inside the house in Los Angeles anymore. I'm retired. I am a retired nurse. I managed my husband's private practice for many years. And now I'm just enjoying my life. I'm skiing, I'm bicycle riding, Oh, and I have grandchildren, and I spend a lot of time with my grandchildren.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next spotlight. Shoshana, open your mic.
On the bottom.
Hi. Shoshana Kajdan. I was known as Shoshana White. I was on the section 2. Anyways, I've been living in Toronto the past 5 years. I lived in Ottawa for 28. My husband died and I moved to Toronto. I have one son here. I'm a social worker. I'm still working. My new challenge is doing remote counseling. 3 of my kids are in the States doing very interesting things. Unfortunately, I can't see them, but I spend a good amount of time with my son's children here. And it's really cool to see all of you guys.
Okay, thank you so much. Who is in the hot seat?
Jackie.
Hi, I'm Jackie Land. I was Jackie Cover 48 years ago. I currently live in Delaware near the beach, and I work for Reconstructing Judaism and have been spending a lot of time consulting with schools and congregations about how to connect during this time. And in my spare time, I take lots of pictures of sunsets and flowers. And my daughter and son-in-law and grandson live in Jerusalem, and we get there every year, and hopefully that will happen this year too.
Okay, thank you so much. Who's in the hot seat?
Looks like me.
Looks like it is.
Joe Tolman. I've been living in Geneva for the last little over 4 years, and something interesting I'm doing now, my wife Deborah and I are on a, believe it or not, 7.5-week road trip around Western and Northern Europe. I'm in Copenhagen today.
Amazing. We're all stuck inside and you're having a ball.
Yeah, living the good life.
Good for you. Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Moti Levin. I'm living in Modi'in. We've been here for the past almost 20 years in Modi'in. Have 3 boys, 2 daughter-in-laws and 1 son-in-law and 2 grandkids. I'm still working at 2 places, at a binational science foundation where we give out research grants, and at Gulfstream Aerospace where we're responsible for making corporate jets here in Israel. One thing, nothing's exciting in my life except trying to beat this pandemic and stay afloat. You know, it's fun.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with us. And let's see who else is in, who haven't I done yet. Here we go.
Good afternoon, everybody, or morning, depending where you are. I'm still living in New Jersey, happily married for 42 years. What else do you want to know me about? I gave up or retired from the newspaper business. Everybody hopefully remembers what a newspaper is. And I've been a videographer, and 10 years ago I got into legal video. So I do depositions and I'm doing remotely, but never expected to, 10 years ago, travel to Korea, Cuba, Jamaica, Taiwan, doing depositions. And it's been a great experience, and I love what I'm doing, and I have no intention of retiring because I like what I do and I only work about 25 hours a week. So all's good, everybody's healthy, and please everybody stay safe.
Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Jan.
Hi. Okay, so I live in Bridgewater, New Jersey, but my daughter had this lovely little baby back in April, and because of the pandemic, her plans changed, and so the person who was supposed to be with her, you know, the au pair can't come because of the pandemic, so I'm it. So I am still working at a real job. And in my spare time, I take care of this little one because she's working now.
Okay, thank you.
Aha.
Aha.
I live down here. I live in West Bloomfield, Michigan, which is one of the suburbs of Detroit, heavily Jewish, and been here a long time, married 40 years. I work a lot, a whole lot more than Mark Friedman's 25 hours a week, probably 2 or 3 times that in the corporate finance world. And as the youngest person, I think on your course, I'm still a hair under the retirement age, but no plans there at all. And the one interesting thing I want to speak about, of course, is grandparenthood. I'm fortunate to have 5 from 0.2 years to 7 years, 3 of whom, by a crazy coincidence, live in Lincoln Towers, Manhattan, where I grew up and my parents remain. And they actually belong to Lincoln Square Synagogue, where I had my bar mitzvah. And we visit often, not in pandemic times, but it's great to see everybody. It's frightening to see the age change. And I guess I look a lot older too, but your course was and is one of the defining experiences of my life, and certainly a wonderful opportunity. Certainly. Nice to see you all.
Thank you so much. Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. Yay. We had a lot of trouble in the run up to the Zoom. Judy Schwartz-Rodenstein. I am living in Silver Spring, Maryland, actually a few blocks from where Jackie Lewis and Jackie Cover grew up, and walk by their old houses often. One fun thing I'm doing lately is I am still an Israeli folk dancer, except not right now because I broke my leg 5 weeks ago, but we'll get back to it. And I have been helping to revive older Israeli folk dances that have fallen out of use in sessions and ought to be remembered, and reintroduce them to dance sessions.
Okay, thank you. And I have to move screens. And I want to say Judy has been the best partner for getting all this together. She is wise and has great ideas and reels me in when I'm going a bit too crazy and fixes all my spelling mistakes. And thank you for doing this with me, Judy.
You're welcome.
Hi, Linda Berman Sugarman. Currently in Miami, very close to where I grew up. I just want to say your course had a profound effect on my life, because after my time on kibbutz shlichot, I continued living an Orthodox lifestyle. I got married 2 years later, had 2 children, got divorced, and then 2 years after that, remarried a philosophy professor at the University of Vermont. I had another child. We've been married for 40 years. So we have 3 children, a girl, a boy, and a girl, and 10 grandchildren. The oldest is 20 and the youngest is 2. And normally we're snowbirds, splitting our time between Burlington, Vermont and Miami. But since the pandemic, we've kind of been not traveling and staying in Miami, which we don't seem to mind at all.
Okay, thank you. Oh, it's a hash. And you better unmute yourself so we can hear you.
Estelle, Adele, thanks so much for putting all this together. This is great. Howard Hesh Richmond, everybody used to know me as Hesh, and been married 45 years to Sharon Brodsky. I don't know if you knew Sharon Brodsky. She actually came on summer course as we were finishing up our year course.
Where is she? Why is she not in the frame?
Well, she's off with the grandkids right now. So we've got 5 grandkids. My 3 kids got really busy at one time, and we went from 0 to 5 grandkids in a 27-month period. And I just recently retired from the corporate world. I did 40 years, started out in finance, and then switched to procurement and supply chain. And I've been running global procurement functions for a number of years. Had some very great help from a guy named Ron Ashkenaz also, who's a consultant, and I know is on here. Thanks, Ron. And I live in Boynton Beach, on the Boynton Beach border, actually, Lake Worth, Florida. Spent most of my time, most of my career living in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And we still have a lot of friends there, many of whom have relocated down to us as well. Of my 5 grandkids, 4 of them live right around the corner from us. That is my life now that I've retired, be able to spend a lot of time with them and play golf. So that's what's going on.
Okay, thank you. Who's in the hot seat? You better unmute yourself, Joellen, so we can hear you.
Right, I can't like do this.
There, yeah, we can hear you. It's good.
Hi, I'm Joellen Kahn Cohen. I have lived ever since your course. I met my husband, and I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and not enjoying the pandemic, but am enjoying retirement. And I want to thank Judy and Adele for putting this all together.
You're very welcome. Okay, here we go. Jeffrey, you're in the hot spot.
Jeffrey and Michelle, actually.
We'll do a twosome. This is Jeffrey Samet. Michelle and I live in Boston.
If you're on
Yep,
two
yep.
devices, please mute one of them.
Right. We've been in Boston, 3 boys, and been a doc for a lot of years, professor at Boston University, and
One
I'll
of our
let
boys
Michelle
went
take
on-
it from there.
One of our boys went on your course, actually. And I've been a research librarian for a long time. And the interesting thing, what's good.
One grandchild
Oh, one grandchild, yeah. And
in the neighborhood.
yeah. And it's been nice to be together all this time. Don't like the pandemic, but we at least have been seeing a lot more of each other than usual.
Okay, thank you. Who is in the hot seat now? Debbie.
Debbie Groudens, you knew me, those of you who were on Ein Charodi Chud, as Debbie Yakir. I think I am the only one of your madrichim who is on this Zoom call.
Well, Ron Ashkenaz was one, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, right, but not on our, right, not our section. My bad.
Yeah.
My very bad.
Absolutely. You are representing everybody, Debbie, so
Yeah.
go for it.
So one interesting thing I'm doing, I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, but I actually have 2 masters, one in child and adolescent development and the other in clinical psych. And so I specialize in working with kids, teens, and their families. Most therapists are kind of scared of working with kids, I've found. It's great when I get to use my office, which, you know, we haven't done in a long time. It's a whole lot of fun. My office is a playroom. I have been bringing my office slowly home. I now have all my books, all my puppets, some of my books, my watercolors, my Play-Doh, my crayons, and some of my markers. And we play therapists are getting very creative. 4 and 5-year-olds aren't great about wanting to be on Zoom. And so one of the fun, interesting things that I'm doing is thinking up ways to keep these little folks engaged.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Debbie. Let's see who is next here. Elliot, you are in the hot seat, and please unmute yourself.
Okay, am I unmuted, I think?
You are.
Yeah, I'm here in Santa Rosa, California, and I'm retired from the practice of medicine. I was an OBGYN, and pre-COVID, I was doing some volunteer political work. My wife and I were hosting a lot of meetings here and calling people. Since then, that hasn't really been happening. And I was tutoring math at the JC, and I'm not doing that. So then pre-fire, you know, there's been big fires out here. I was doing a lot of bicycle and swimming, and now I'm not doing that because I don't know if you can see behind me, it's really gray. And so lately I've been actually trying to do, to relearn Hebrew using Duolingo. Don't test me though.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Jackie. Open your mic.
Hi. So I'm Jackie Lewis, and I live in San Francisco, a block from the ocean. And I've been here like a long time. And right now we're in a second pandemic because we can't go outside because of the smoke. So we're sitting in our houses, not being able to walk. So that's what I'm doing, trying to live through these fires.
Okay, thank
Although,
you.
hopefully, luckily, San Francisco is not on fire.
Wow, yeah. Okay, thanks for sharing that. Yes, yes, Suzanne, yes, yes.
Hi, everybody. I couldn't do that, the menting thing, but I want to say that your course really did change my life, not only because I met Tom and we've been married 45 years, but because it gave me a connection to Israel, and we now have nieces and nephews there, and we've been going every year until this year. I don't think we'll be able to go this fall, but like Elliot, I've decided to, since I did not do very well in Ulpan in Israel when we were on your course, I've always wanted to really become fluent, and now I have little great nieces and nephews. So I'm doing a Hebrew course online through Rosen School in Israel, and I'm really enjoying it. And Tom and I are semi-retired, and we were traveling a lot, and we hope to be able to do that again soon. And it's just great to see everybody. I have two wonderful grandchildren, two children, but two wonderful grandsons. And one is going to be Max is going to be bar mitzvah next year. Oh my gosh. I mean, wow. So very excited about that.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
I hope I'm not repeating people. Gary, you haven't spoken yet, have you?
Nope, not yet, but here I am.
Go for it.
Gary Kahalnik, and I live in Dallas, Texas, with my wife, Linda, who I met on a bus to the JCC when we were both at Washington University in St. Louis during the Yom Kippur War. There was a rally, and we met. We were introduced by another young Judean that we both knew. We've been married for 42 years, and we have 3 kids, 2 of whom have dual citizenship, spent a lot of time in Israel. My son was in the IDF, but they're all living back here in Dallas now. And we have 3 grandchildren who are great, grandsons, and we're expecting our 4th grandson on March 11th. And what have I been doing since year course besides having children and grandchildren? I've gotten to see a handful of our year course chevra over the years, and it's every time I see somebody from year course, it's like we've never been apart. We just pick up where we left off, and it's just wonderful. And currently, I finally found a job when I was in my late 50s that I've been looking for my whole career. I work for the Development Corporation for Israel. I'm a registered representative, and I sell Israel government bonds. So that's what I've been doing, and I have no intention of retiring because I love my job.
Excellent. I'm going to take a break now because there's something that I want to share with you guys.
I said to Gary, love the Jeff Tubin glasses.
And I'm going to...
They're not exactly like that.
I'm going to share my screen. If I can find it, I've confused myself with all my windows.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Do you want me to wait for you to write?
Yeah.
So with your help, this is something that I put together.
Oh wow.
And I'm going to
We're
play
gone.
some music and just sort of let you look at it now. I'll be sharing the link with you afterwards so that you guys can write underneath the pictures. But for now, what we're going to hear
By Jaber.
is
Both?
I did.
a song that was sung in honor of one of these dear people here, Daniel, and it was sung by Joe. Right, Joe?
Yes.
Joe wrote and performed the song that he wrote for Daniel.
And for some reason it stopped. I'm not quite sure why it's not working now. Anyway, I will scroll down here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to share this link with you all in the chat, and you can just take a few minutes and look at it yourselves. If I can find the chat window.
Can I just explain that there's a sort of normal song with 3 verses and a chorus, and then there's a coda that's sort of a medley from the Beatles with Abbey Road and a couple of lines that come from a song that I helped Daniel write when he was head over heels in love with Francine. So I threw in a couple of lines of that.
Thank you, Joe.
Let's take a walk to the end of the road, see what we have to say. This is our last episode, it's the end.
Okay, if you look in your chat, you can all go into this link.
I don't know, I just don't know. But I just think that things will be alright. Let's take a walk to the end of the road, see what we have to see. We've never seen a heavier load, and it seems like this wasn't meant to be. Don't you think that things will be alright? Don't you think that it will be alright? We just don't know, we don't know. We just don't know. "50 years of building, a lifetime as friends. Now we know our road together, it never ends. It never ends. Let's take a walk to the end of the road, feel what we have to feel. Feels just like our regular mode, but maybe twice as real. I won't ask you if things will be alright. You won't ask me if things will be all. We just know. Now we know. We just know. Now we know. what is left, what is left, what is left is love. What is left is love. What is left is love.
Okay, thank you so much to everybody who contributed to that wall. And you're all invited to go in and write there afterwards. And Francine, is it okay if you talk? Is this good?
Yeah, thank you, Joe. One of the great legacies Daniel and I enjoyed from your course was that Joe moved to Washington, D.C., where we live. Guys were reunited. The three of us were reunited. And of course, Joe met and married the amazing Deborah Greenfield. And they had two boys, we had two boys. And so the four of us raised our boys together and remained really close friends. So I still live in DC. I've moved downtown from the suburbs after Daniel's death. And Daniel and I had worked together in business. We were historic preservationists and commercial real estate developers. I retired early because working with Daniel, I counted those years as dog years. And so after that intensity, I retired and became a Democratic activist and other things, an advocate for hereditary cancer and so on. And just want to let you know that Daniel turned out very well. He was an award-winning developer and loved architecture and loved his friends. He was proud to be part of the fearsome foursome, Tom. I'm sorry the other guys aren't here. And so wonderful to see you. And Adele and Judy, thank you for setting up the memorial. And Joe, thank you for your song. It's my lullaby.
Okay, thank you so much. We are moving on. Yep, Ron, it's you. Yep.
Hello, everyone. It's really nice to see everyone and wonderful to be here, and also a little bittersweet with the people who aren't here. I live in Stamford, Connecticut. We've been here for over 40 years. A year ago, I could have said all sorts of interesting things that I'm doing. This year, I'm basically staying in the house. I have had a long career working with lots of interesting corporate clients and organizational change and leadership, including Hesh Richman. And recently I retired from full-time doing that. My wife says that I've failed retirement since I still seem to have a number of clients and keep doing it remotely. But the most interesting thing we do now is we spend many hours just about every day on video with grandchildren. We have 8 of them around the world from Australia, Canada, and New Jersey, and another one due in Australia and in February. Looks like we're not going to get there for that one. But it takes a lot of time to spend, video with these kids, and thank God for that, or we would lose touch altogether.
Okay, thank you so much. And this is a person who just managed, we just managed to find him like what, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
You're on.
Holy mackerel. Adele, thank you so much for putting this together, and Judy, it's really something. And I don't know, if I was flying a plane to get here, I would have crashed. But I'm here, I am. And holy cannolis. Don Lewis, what can I say? I tried to post some pictures. I couldn't do it. I've got a handful of stuff from the past. But anyway, long story short, if you go to my website, wildhivefarm.com, and my Instagram pages, wildhivefarm.com, and DL Lewis Photography, you can see kind of where and what. But on your course, I kicked right off working in the raising the fish in the Midge, I think it was called, and then commercial beekeeping. There, I returned a year later, and so I left, and then I came back, and I worked commercial beekeeping there for another year, and I met my wife Dale, who there on kibbutz in Harod, and that second year, and I traveled with her somewhat after we left Israel and came back to the United States. We got married in 1975. I think that's 45 years ago. And we have 2 kids, a grandson who's, you can see on my Instagram pages, he's like 3.5 years old. And I came back to be a commercial beekeeper. And I've been working in farming and all since then. I mean, I grew up my parents were farmers, and you'll see from my website and my Instagram pages, it's been commercial beekeeping and then commercial bakery for 25 years or 30 years, farmers markets, green markets in New York City. I live in the Hudson Valley of New York, Clinton Corners, and I've had this grain project for the last 20 years. You can see it on my website. And it's all about growing grains for human consumption in the region. And when I started doing this project, it had been 80 years since grains for human consumption were grown in this part of the region. And I managed to somehow bring that back. And now this model is being replicated throughout the Northeast and across the country in some places, California and all. And anyway, that's what I've been up to. I think about you guys periodically. I still pick a little and
but where's the ponytail?
no. Oh, I cut all my hair. This is the longest my hair has been in, I don't know how many years. I haven't had a haircut since COVID.
Okay.
Since the beginning of March. And so anyway, no ponytail, but
no ponytail.
Letting my freak flag fly.
Okay. Wow. Okay, thank you so much. And for those who
I'm really glad to be here.
Before we for those who joined us late, what we're doing now basically is we're saying our names and we're saying where we live in the world and one interesting thing that we're doing now. Okay, so I'm going to go on and move on. Oh, yes. Sandy, I'm sorry. I should say names before I surprise you like that, shouldn't I? Okay. Hi. Sandy's at the beach. You're on, Sandy.
I'm not exactly, but I didn't want you to see my messy kitchen. Anyhow, I'm Sandy Samuel. I live on Mercer Island, which is right across the way from Seattle. Our air is also not breathable right now. I've been just as profoundly affected as the next guy in this pandemic. I have 3 unemployed kids, and they are part of our little bubble. So I see a lot of my family all the time. All 3 of my kids went on your course, and I worked for Young Judea in many different ways over the years. And whenever I say the word young Judea, the kids groan. But it's been a good life here. My husband's a cantor. He's getting used to Zooming, which is kind of hard with and as all of you will experience, a lot of things are going to be on Zoom for the high holidays. So it's a little crazy around here, but everything's good and everybody's healthy.
Okay, thank you so
Also,
much.
real quickly, I want to say that your course was probably one of the best years of my life, and I made some of my dearest friends on your course, who I still love dearly.
Thank you so much. Les, you ready? Unmute yourself, please.
Oh, your daughter.
Pearl.
Yes, this is my daughter, Pearl.
Okay,
All
nice
right.
to meet you, Pearl. Yes, go for it.
And we live in Clarkdale, Arizona. I couldn't even plan that if I tried. We live in Clarkdale, Arizona. We've been living here for about 14, 15 years. The nearest big town is about 50 miles away, and that would be either Flagstaff, Prescott, or Phoenix.
And what are you doing interesting these days?
I'm raising a 14-year-old girl by myself.
That
with
is
help
very
from my friends.
Okay, thank you, Les.
And I still work.
Chronicle Bird. Thank you, Les. Okay, Robin, you are up to bat.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I made Aliyah twice, and my last successful Aliyah was in '93, and I mostly live in Jerusalem. Now I'm newly married with a female partner, and I live on a moshav with her, so I go back and forth. I have 2 children from alternative family. Shira is 23. She was in Keturah last year in the Arava Institute, and she's starting Hebrew U, and my son's in the Army. He's going to be a medic. And what's interesting is I've done a lot of gay politics in Israel, and I've started a lot of groups, and I've done, you know, my whole life has been public, from when I wanted to be a parent till when I was a parent till after I was a parent. So I have lots of ideas, and they've become political. And for many years, I worked as a social worker for like 35 years and in Jerusalem. And I don't know if I'll go back to that. I'm, you know, right now, most of us are sort of socially isolating, washing our hands a lot. And I'll see when things calm down. But life has been interesting, very interesting for me.
Amazing.
And it's really great to see everyone. And I do want to thank people for organizing it. And it's particularly great to see Les and Sandy. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Robin. Next up, Ellen. Unmute yourself, please. Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't see the screen, but can you see me?
Okay. I don't know, but whoever's talking aside from Alan, please mute yourselves.
Hi, I'm Alan Goldstein. Live in Houston, Texas. Have more or less for the last many, many years. Houston is probably the most ethnically diverse city in the nation, certainly the most largest city like that. After I went to college in Austin, I returned to Israel as a madrich on Young Judea year course with Sandy, who was also a co-madricha there. Worked for a couple of years as a director of Camp Young Judea in Texas, and then did what every self-respecting liberal arts major did, became a lawyer, been a lawyer for 35 years. I married Rhonda Feinberg, who I met at Camp Young Judea when we were working as madrichim there. And she's a little older than me. She was on your course a couple years before. We have 3 children, 2 who live in New York, one of whom is a nurse there and has been a nurse during this whole situation there. And she was on your course and worked at Mogen David Adam when she was on your course. My 3rd child is here in Houston, fortunately, and he's married and blessed us with a son a few months ago, so a grandson. that's what we spend most of our spare time doing, is in the Henry bubble with the grandson. If it were not for the pandemic, the favorite thing I would like to do is play basketball, but I haven't been able to do that.
Okay.
So one quick other thing,
Yeah.
Gary Kahalnik's son, who's expecting a baby, is married to my godchild. And
Oh,
so
wow.
very exciting. Thank you.
Small Jewish world. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Karen, you are up, and unmute yourself. Name, where you live in the world, and one interesting thing that you're doing these days.
Okay, Karen Levitz. I'm living in Passaic Park, New Jersey. I've been here for about 30 years. There's a huge Jewish population here. Interesting. I retired last year from corporate world, my regular job. Took me till November until I got totally bored, and I had to do something. I didn't know what to do, and now I'm a notary signing agent. So I can do it when I want, I can take off when I want, and I basically, with the interest rate so low, people are refinancing like crazy, and I am going to their homes and doing all their paperwork for them. And I do, so it's keeping me busy, keeping me out of trouble.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's about it.
Okay, thanks. Debbie, unmute yourself. Name, where you live in the world, and one interesting thing you're doing these days.
Okay, where do I live? I live on Moshav Kfar Neter. I've been living here for 40 years. It's close to the beach. And I came back to Israel after a year, less than a year after year course, because it was my best year of my life. And it's not an easy country to live in, like some of you who are living here also know. But living on the Moshav is like a bubble. What I've been doing, I worked for 40 years in geriatrics. I'm an occupational therapist, and I work with people with Alzheimer. I work with the Alzheimer Association. And over a year ago, they closed the daycare center I was working at. And so I'm still working part-time, but I went to India for 2 months by myself. So I think that was the most interesting thing that I've been doing like in the past year. And so that was like really special, it was like sort of being on your course again, kind of discovering things and being on my own. But one thing that I've been doing interesting on the pandemic, I was doing support groups before, besides working with people with dementia, and I've been doing a support group, Zoom support groups for spouses of people with dementia, which is very, very interesting and challenging. And so that's one of the things of the pandemic that I'm enjoying. And I'm kind of like ambivalent. I don't like stay home all the time. So I don't know what about you, but we're still young. We have to continue to live. So thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. And Sandy, you are up next. So your name, where you live in the world, and one interesting thing you're doing these days.
Hi. Glad I got to speak because I have to leave in a few minutes to a family Zoom reunion. Sandy Birnbaum, I was your Madricha, Group 1. And I am now a clinical psychologist, married with 3 children and 3 grandchildren. I live in Jerusalem. I did live for some periods as a member of Kibbutz Israel, and I lived around the country in various places. Now back in Jerusalem. I'm working, one of the founders of a feminist therapy center called the Counseling Center for Women, Merkaz Yitzlaisha. And I am still working, even though I'm older than all of you, except for maybe other madrichim. And that's what I do. I still work. I love my work. And I also have a couple of students to still help get through their medical school and other school. And I love my work, so that's fine. Working on Zoom right now. Wish I could get past that.
Thank you so much.
Nice to see you all.
Great to see you too. Craig, you are up. your name, where you live in the world, and one interesting thing you're doing these days.
Hi there. I retired last year. I've been living in Sarasota, Florida for the last 10 years. Lived in Chicago for 30 years and was married until I got divorced. Nice to see the old Chicagoans still have their accent, Moti and Gary. And so retired last year, 30 years in the software business, and having a great time. Playing a lot of golf, kayaking, playing tennis. Was working in a food bank for most of since last November, but that's been curtailed a little bit. And my son lives in Kochav Yaakov in the West Bank with my 2 grandchildren and my daughter-in-law. And my daughter, I'm trying to encourage her, if anybody's got suggestions, to have another grandchild for me. So.
Okay, thank you so much. Please, everybody, remember to remute yourselves after you finish speaking, so that we can hear everybody clearly. And Jerry, you haven't spoken yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Okay, so your name, where you're living in the world, and one interesting thing that you're doing.
Yeah, hi. I had been Jerry Shapiro. I tell people that's my maiden name. I'm Jerry Isaac Shapiro for the last 36 years. We've been in Cleveland, a suburb of Cleveland, for 17 years, where I was the head of a day school. Just recently left that, and now I'm the national director of something called American Friends of Kidum. We essentially support schools in Israel. We have a daughter who, at the ripe old age of 23, just graduated, retired from Tzahal as a first lieutenant. She's now going to law school in Jerusalem. A son who's exceptionally talented, but out of work as a stage writer, playwright, actor, and singer. Met my wife, Debbie, had been Debbie Isaac, now Debbie Isaac Shapiro, in camp when I was a camp director and Young Judea regional director. Interesting things, we are finally purchasing an apartment in Jerusalem where we had lived when I was a Jerusalem fellow during the Matzav, during the Intifada. So we're very excited about that. It's on Koya Dorot in Arnon and Talpiot. And I'm finally getting to a book of philosophical essays and a novel.
Amazing.
Very nice to see everybody.
Thank you so much. Steve, you're up. Name, where you live in the world, and one interesting thing you're doing.
Okay, hi, it's Steve Goldfarb, living in Long Beach, New York, across from the beach. I've been here for 3 years, on Long Island for 35 years, and we spend part of the winter in Boca Raton, and hopefully we get a chance to do that again during this COVID. Retired from corporate in retail management, and my job now, even though I'm retired, is hanging out with my kids and grandkids who live very close by, and it's a thrill to be doing that.
Thank you so much. And I'm
Thanks
so
for putting this all together. Thank you.
I'm so jealous of all these people who have retired already. I'm doing it next year. Okay, next up to bat, David Beckman. Unmute yourself, please. Name, where you live in this world, and one interesting thing that you're doing.
All right, David Beckman. I'm living in Newton, Massachusetts. Came up to Massachusetts right after college and met my wife at Israeli folk dancing, and except for COVID, I've been involved with folk dancing ever since. Interesting thing. Well, since COVID, I've been helping my synagogue with streaming and Zooming their services and their other activities. And since my wife is the director of the religious school, I've been really busy helping her get set up for the new semester.
Wow, excellent. Thank you for that. And were you on course 1 or 2?
2.
2. Oh, okay. So you're not going to be much help. Never mind. Your course 1, I need a Zoomer, because when we break out, we need a Zoomer. Okay. Thank you very much. Sarah, you haven't been up yet, have you? Sarah Wilkins. You have? You have. Okay. I'm getting confused. Rena, you are coming up. Rena, have you spoken already? So please unmute yourself, your name, where you live, and one interesting thing.
Rena Cohen, and Rena Shear now for the past 43 years. I live in Framingham, Massachusetts. And As far as doing fun things, I've been painting for the past couple decades, and that's still very much fun, especially I'm an abstract painter, so I never know what's going to come up. And it's always a fun thing. And I have a nice group of people that I've been painting with for a very long time. But unfortunately, our dear teacher and friend, we lost to COVID. So I'm in mourning for her and my mom, who also passed at age 99.
Wow.
And it's been hard. My husband's father also passed. It's been a hard time.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll get through it, right?
We will. We certainly will. Thank you.
Thank you for doing this, Adele and friends.
Pleasure. It's been a blast. Brenda, why don't you unmute yourself? Your name, where you are living, and one interesting thing you're doing these days.
Can you hear me?
You can.
Okay. Well, let's see. We've lived in South Carolina since 1991. My husband is head of jazz studies in the music department here at the university, which is why we moved. We never thought we'd stay here, but we're about to retire. And everything's good. I'm a physician assistant, and I've been in cardiology for about 30 years. So it's been kind of tough, you know, seeing patients and dealing with the COVID and all that kind of junk. But I'm hoping that soon, maybe next spring, we'll be able to get back to life as it has been. Probably the most, I wouldn't say interesting, I'll call it challenging things I've been dealing with are my parents are aging, and dealing with their healthcare needs and their mental status and their living conditions when they're in Texas and I'm here in South Carolina. So that's been tough. And I'm sure other people have had to go through the same. That's about it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. Next up is Doug. I Thingamajig. Doug's I Thingamajig is up. Unmute yourself. Name, where you are in the world, and one interesting thing you're doing.
Hi, I'm Doug Turk, and again, I want to reiterate, Adele and Judy, thank you so much for putting this together. I'm here in Tampa, Florida. It's been my home base pretty much ever since year course. I work everywhere else, but been based in Tampa. So the most interesting thing that I've been doing lately is not traveling, mostly due to COVID. And it's given me a chance. When I've been traveling, I'm a collector, so I've been collecting images, music, recipes, algorithms, and art. So now I get to stay home and manage all of that.
Okay, thank you so much. If anybody has to leave, please message me. Oh no, we lost Valley. She left. Please tell me and I'll put you up next so that we don't lose people before they go. Okay, so you're on. Everett.
Everett Gorell. I live here in Houston, Texas with my wife and dog. And I feel like we're newlyweds compared to most of you guys. Not 40 years. We've only been married for 26. But just trying to stay busy. I retired in November. Had a film and video production company for almost 40 years. And the plan was to travel extensively this year and then do a documentary that was sort of a labor of love for me about the relationship between money and politics in the United States. So the travel hasn't really gone so well, but you know, I can't really complain. We're still pretty active. I get to surf very frequently, and hopefully when all this is over, we'll get back to working on the documentary. And if anybody's interested, it's a grassroots effort, so we'd love to have anybody involved in it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Rabbi Keith, it is so good to see you, even though you copped out on me when you were supposed to come visit me. So, where you're living in the world and one interesting thing that you're doing.
Okay, Keith Stern, Rabbi, Newton, Massachusetts. Open heart surgery 6 months ago. 5 kids, 2 grandkids. Most interesting thing I'm doing right now is figuring out how the hell to do High Holy Days with a combination of 3 different platforms, pre-recorded, rolling in, live, and other than that, trying to make it go.
Okay, thank you so much. And I skipped here and we are back in my order and we are back to Joel. Unmute yourself.
I think I'm unmuted, right?
You are fine.
All right. Joel Kantrowitz. Right now I am in Woodstock. We bought a house here 4 years ago. We still have our Jersey house because that's near where I work close to, which is a biotech company, Regeneron in Tarrytown. Up in Woodstock, I've spent most of the time during the pandemic with Jody and my kids who hop in here and there, but try to stay socially distant. Here it's in the Catskills, and it's a great place to go hiking and boating. And, I've been working remotely here and growing my hair a little long and telling the tourists that the Woodstock Festival was 60 miles southwest of here. There always generates some confusion. I have 3 kids, 2 live in Brooklyn. One just bought my mother-in-law's house up the block in Jersey. So we do a lot of dog swapping here and there. I do at the company I work for now. It's exciting, very exciting place to work. I'm on a team of COVID treatments, currently in phase 3 trials. It's not vaccine, it's treatment, but it's pretty exciting. And I just have to, again, I want to thank Adele and Judy for organizing this. This has been great. Joe has a beautiful tribute. And, that year in Israel is indelibly imprinted in my brain. People comment about my memory, and I do remember Ufaratsta was in the first week of November. I don't remember if it was November 10th or 13th, but I do recall more details of that year than any other year of my life.
Okay, thank you so much, Joel. It's great to see you. Nina, you are on. And she's going someplace. She's traveling. Where are we going, Nina? Where are you in the world, like right this minute? And where are you usually? And one interesting thing.
Okay, am I?
We can hear you, but your connection is not great.
Okay, well, I'm in the car. I am the passenger, and I've been in the car for the whole time. I live in Philadelphia, and I was just down in the shore in Atlantic City, and we're on our way back, and I didn't want to miss this for anything. First of all, I cannot tell you how great it is to see everybody, and this looks like more maybe our 30th reunion in the way that people look instead of 48th. I can't believe it.
Oh, we're losing you, Nina?
You're losing me?
No, I think you're under a bridge. What do we just...
Okay, wait. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have master's in Jewish education, worked in nonprofit Jewish, including Young Judea and Hadassah for a very long time, going under the bridges. Oh. And I'm now a realtor. I have 3 children, 5 grandchildren, and I was married 20 years to an Israeli, and now married 20 years to my driver over here. He's from Argentina, and we have 3 more grandchildren. So we have 8 grandchildren. My son, who went on year course, lives in Israel, so at least fulfilling the Zionist dream for my grandkids. And doing a lot of babysitting with the local grandchildren, and feeling so blessed to be at this reunion. And thank you for the people who put it together, and hope to see everybody in 2 years, maybe live.
Okay, thank you very much. Stephen, you are on. Name, place in the world, and one interesting thing.
Steve Levin. I migrated a good 20 miles from the east end of Bergen County and Fort Lee to the west end of Bergen County, a little town called Franklin Lakes. Like Ron, I do organizational consulting primarily for universities and their medical schools and health systems. And Ron and I have actually shared a client or two and run into each other in airports back when we used to be able to travel to go visit clients. At the beginning of COVID, both of my daughters and their husbands and my then 14-month-old grandson moved to our house in New Jersey, thinking they would be here a couple of weeks. 6 months later, they're still here, and no matter how rude I try to be, I can't seem to get them to go back to Brooklyn. And October, we will have grandchild number 2, and then 3 weeks later, if everything goes according to schedule, grandchild number 3 will arrive. So we've done an about face from being empty nesters to being running a bed and breakfast here in New Jersey.
Well, good for you. Kol hakavod. Thank you. Okay, Jenna, you are up. Name, where in the world, and one interesting thing you're doing lately.
Hi, I'm Janice Werner, still Janice Werner. After living up and down the East Coast from Boston to Florida, Atlanta over the years, I have just moved to the country in Western North Carolina in Brevard, not far from where I started my crime in Young Judea at Camp Judea in Hendersonville. So it's kind of fun going back over there. It's a great place. Let's see, I worked in nonprofits most of my career, working with people with disabilities. And I actually retired a couple years ago and then got recruited to come back and help a software company build a vocational rehabilitation program, which was pretty funny since I wasn't such a great techie. I've had to learn a new skill at an old age. And let's see, most recently I have taken up riding my mountain bike. Scary for someone who should be retiring. And there's a lot of beautiful national forests here. So I put my helmet and my gloves and a lot of padding on and go out in the woods and ride my bike. So that's a lot of fun. And it is amazing to see all those punim out there that I love, that I haven't seen in so long. And so Adele and Judy, thank you so much for doing this. It's great.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, you are up and you're with your right name now. So name, where you are, and one interesting thing that you're doing lately. And I'm going to ask people to keep it short because we've still got people left and we still want to go into these breakout rooms. So.
All right, I'll keep it short. I'm Joe Morris.
Yes, also.
you might know me as Rhoda. I'm at my mother's house visiting. But I live in Northampton, Massachusetts with Allison. And some of you might know her from Young Judea, from TY. I met her at TY. And what else can I tell you? I love hearing about how everyone's retired because honestly, since year course, I don't think I've ever adjusted and gotten a real job yet. So I go back and forth between working and not working, and I do a lot of different things. We bought a house in January, our first house, right before the virus, and my children, 2 kids, have just moved back from Los Angeles. There are 5 grandkids. We have almost an acre of land. We have a zip line and an obstacle course. We get a lot of kid time, and we've been really kind of sitting there and enjoying ourselves.
Okay.
Thank you for putting this together. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Lisa, I understand that you have to leave soon, so I'm going to spotlight you and let you tell us where you are and interesting.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see everybody. Really enjoying the conversation. I live in Coconut Grove, which is Miami, Florida. I've been here for almost 40 years. And something interesting, well, I kind of feel weird about saying this because of COVID. We are spending a lot of time here. So I think I've gone through more tequila in the last 6 months than I did in the last 60 years. So that's how we're enjoying ourselves. But I have a granddaughter in Houston. So I get to Houston, or I should say I used to get to Houston a lot. I hope to get there again soon. And hopefully we also have another one on the way coming in Houston in March. So excited about that. And my other daughter lives in Chicago. We go there. We go to visit my sister, Sarah. We love going there in the summer and feel sad that we haven't gone this year. But anyway, it's wonderful seeing everybody. I'll hang in here because I think I'm in charge of the one of the breakout rooms. So
Okay. All right.
plan to
Thank
be here.
you.
Nice
Thank
seeing
you.
everyone.
Okay. Michelle, you're on. Name, where do you live in this world?
Oh,
And
I already, good to hear. I already spoke.
right. Oh, right. You,
Yeah.
you, okay.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Good.
your course
Okay.
one. Hi again.
Thank you. And Earl, name,
Hi,
where, and what?
Earl Barg. It's wonderful to see everybody. Thanks for putting this together. I spent a lot of time. I can't believe how often I think about your course. It's good to see people. After over 30 years living in Pennsylvania, my wife and I moved back to Texas. We're now in downtown Austin. Mostly boring, but two quick things. I love telling people that the first time I ever voted was in East Jerusalem at the consulate while on your course, and kept up some of the political stuff. I am writing postcards. I volunteered with a group. They had me writing postcards to first-time voters in Florida. And the second thing is, recently, a couple months ago, my wife and I took photographs, made a charitable donation to the Houston Astros, or if you prefer, the Houston Asterisk Foundation. And we are cardboard cutouts at the stadium. And I got to say, I think I may have found my calling as a cardboard cutout. It's great.
You have to send us a picture of that. Okay, thank you so much. Amy, you are on. Name, unmute
Hi,
yourself.
everybody. Hi.
Yeah.
Okay, so Amy Golub Schneider. I've been living in Jerusalem for the past almost 44 years. I teach English in a high school for girls here in remote in Jerusalem. We have 8 children, 7 what I call 7 natural and 1 supernatural. Our youngest is was fostered. We fostered her from the time that she was born. Basically, she has Down syndrome, so she's living at home. And the other 7 are married, living in different parts of Israel, 2 up north, 4 in the Jerusalem area. And Adele, 1 is in your neighborhood in Netivot, not exactly next door, but your part of the world. And we have 14 grandchildren and counting. And what's been interesting has been teaching on Zoom for somebody who is technologically challenged. I'm learning all kinds of new skills. And the fact is that until this, I did not think about retiring, but now I keep asking myself, why didn't you just retire? This is great. This is insanity. But whatever, hopefully it'll get better.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, who haven't I gotten to yet? Mr. Marks. Marks. Oh, what a hat he is wearing. Look at that Kova Temple on him.
Hi there.
Yeah.
Hi there. Yeah, this is the original kibbutz hat. No, there is very little hair left under it. I admit to that. It's great to see everybody. And I live in New Jersey. I have a very small business in Manhattan. I'm a diamond cutter. I met my wife a year after after when we came back to Israel, from Israel in college. She finished, I didn't. Traveled cross country a little bit, lived out in Santa Cruz, California on the Monterey Bay for a few years, and then came back and settled here. I have 2 beautiful children, and it's so many great memories. I was looking at all the albums last night that I still have all the pictures, from Israel, and some compromising photos of all of you, and mostly just great, beautiful memories in my head like everybody else. And that's it. Thank you so much for putting this together. Adele and Judy.
Do you have an Amazon account?
Did a great job. Thank you so much.
I didn't know
Nice
you had one.
Thank you for sharing that.
See you guys.
Okay, Arlene.
Oh,
you are up, and let's see how your practice is, how good you are now.
Well, I've gotten a little better, I think, because I can see everybody by scrolling, so it's great to be here. I live in Moscow, Idaho. I'm in the Pacific Northwest.
Wow.
I landed here in 1983 after traveling around a little bit. And I own and make and sell tie-dye clothing and during COVID, I made a lot of tie-dye masks. Lots. Hundreds, thousands, dare I say. For a while, I couldn't keep up with orders at 100 a
Is
week.
she on the phone?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. And
Okay, good.
somebody is not on, it needs to mute themselves. I can't see with all these screens. But unless your name is Arlene, please mute yourself. So Arlene, you've already told us your interesting thing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And
Yes, it's been great seeing everyone. Oh my God, it's crazy. And oh yeah, Earl, he bought some tie-dye from me. Oh yes, he did. And Joel Kantrowitz, I was in upstate New York last year. I went to TY, in fact, and I was in your neighborhood. And I have a girlfriend, Sandy Slonim, who sells at the Woodstock Farmers Market. Okay, bye. That's enough.
Thank you. And we have somebody from another continent here. And please open up your mic.
Yep, it's open.
And
So,
go for it.
I'm Michael Horowitz. I live in London, England.
Hey, Hershey.
Hey. Who's that, Lance?
That's right.
I'm a semi-retired architect here. I've been here for 20 years. The interesting thing is I'm semi-retired because I go back and forth between here and St. Petersburg, Russia to see my son who dances ballet for the Mariinsky Ballet.
Amazing.
So that's really everything.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm so glad you got here.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Thank you, Adele.
Okay, Ellen. Open your mic, please.
Gotcha. Hi, I'm in Bethesda, Maryland, where I've been living for 30-some years, working as a clinician and a researcher at the National Institutes of Health. I have 4 adult kids. One did go on your course. He's now living in Tel Aviv, and have my first grandchild.
Mazal tov. Okay, thank you. Penny, go for it.
It's nice to see you guys. Sorry I kind of ran in and so late. I have a toilet that's not doing so great, waiting for a friend to come fix it. Anyway, I've been doing great. I moved back to Atlanta, work at the same school that I went to elementary school at. My father helped found, and I started the PE program and athletic program there. And I have a daughter named Candace who is the absolute best. And that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there anybody who I have missed because my screens keep popping and I think I've gotten everybody, but if I've missed, oh, hang on, Ellen Kachalski? Okay, hang on, you're on. Go for it.
Hi, Ellen Kachalski, your course 1. My husband and I have been married for 43 years now, and we've been in the Detroit area ever since completing grad school. I'm a social worker. He's got an MBA in finance. We actually are not far from Jay and his wife, Michelle, Jay Brown. And it was actually surprising to spot a head of hair that looked familiar on a flight coming back from holidays in New York. And I said to my husband, oh, it looks like Jay Brown. And sure enough, when he turned around, it was Jay Brown. I've got 2 young kids. I'm a social worker in hematology and oncology, dealing with bleeding disorders. And I've been fortunate enough to do some traveling as part of that. Spent a couple of weeks twice in India as part of a twinning program. And because I've been lucky enough to travel as part of work, I've been able to see some folks like Sandy Samuel when I've been in Seattle, Dallas, Baltimore. So I've gotten to see a few friends as we've managed to reconnect when I've been there. That's been fun. And your course has been a major impact on my life. It's why I became a social worker. hope to go back there again. We were able to get there for the 25th, or rather the 50th, when my son had his bar mitzvah there. And my daughter was on the Detroit team mission, so that was fun. And we're hoping we get to go back soon again. We were planning to go this year until COVID hit. And nice to see everybody.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody who has not spoken? I think we've gotten through everybody. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, so I'm up. I'm last one. Okay, so Adele, duh. And I live here in Israel, and I've been here since after your course, basically. And one interesting thing that I'm doing lately is dragging teachers in Israel online and making them digital. So that's it. So I'm gonna send us all out to break rooms in a minute, but I'm a little bit confused because there were a few people that are signed up here that I apologize, but I'm not sure which your course you were on. So I've got Ellen Bornstein. Which your course were you on? Please open your mic and tell me. I've got 4 people here that I don't know where to put. Ellen Bornstein, Everett.
1.
Ellen is on 1. All righty. Everett Gorel, Michelle Maram, and Penny. Are any of you on 1?
Michelle Maram was on 1.
Okay, and Everett?
1, 2, don't say that.
Everett, where were you?
Everett was 1, Penny was 1.
Okay, so we're ready for our breakout rooms. Everybody, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but if you haven't, if you've ever seen Harry Potter or read Harry Potter, he does this apparating thing, and that's kind of like what we do on Zoom. We apparate. So I'm going to open up all rooms. What you have to do is you have to accept. If you do not accept being sent to your room, and the rooms have names on them, your course, YC1, YC2, and Machon. So when you get the message, you'll be asked to accept. You accept, and you will be zoomed into that room with your course or Machon buddies. If you get stuck in the main room, I will try and go and find you and put you where you're supposed to be. And if you get kicked out, you can come into the same link and come back in again. I will try and help you. And I think we've been here for a really long time. So I think after our breakout rooms, that's going to be about it. So Judy, do you want to say something now before I zoom us all out?
Wait, Adele, the message is going to come through the chat group, or it's going to come in some other message?
It will pop up on your screen. Okay, I think. I don't usually get zoomed. I usually do the zooming. So I'm not altogether sure, but I'm pretty sure
It will pop up on the screen.
It does. It does.
So, Judy?
Yes. No, I don't want to take any more time so that we have more time to schmooze, but it is so wonderful seeing everyone's faces. And since I was being good in the first go round, I didn't mention that my daughter lives in Israel and my son served in the IDF. So I wanted to chep a little nachas too.
Okay, thank you. And we also wanted to say that if you enjoyed this and you want to do this again, we can do it again. There's actually a whole bunch of ideas that I had for doing here that it's just taken too long. So we're not going to do them. We can also think about, there's so many people here that have so many interesting things that they could actually give a little mini lecture about. So if you want to get together again, give us feedback in the Facebook, in email, wherever you're connecting with us. And I think I'm going to zoom us out of here. You ready? So everybody say bye-bye. See you soon.
Bye.
Go join your Zoom rooms. Ellen, you are not written down. You have to join. You have to click on join, Ellen Kachalski. And there's one person that's unassigned. Who is this? Ellen? Ellen, were you on 1 or 2? 1. Bye-bye. And Jerry, you should have gotten a message saying, inviting you to join. Jerry, can you open your mic? Okay, I am joining